Welcome to another broadcast of We're All Here Together, and today I'm going to talk about how to stop overthinking. And if you peruse my content, there is enough there that would create a ramp towards actually stopping, like stopping. But today we're going to look at it more immediately. So how do you stop overthinking right now? And I have a very detailed diagram here, so I might scooch up so you can see it. And this will be short because I have a client upcoming. So here we have you, and I know we're all shaped differently, so use your imagination. And when you are overthinking and you notice you are, I would suggest beginning the process of calming yourself by appreciating and acknowledging that you notice that you're overthinking. At a different point in time, perhaps you would have just run with it. What's so interesting about our thinking is it can stampede us around without us really acknowledging that it's taken us like from here to here. And that means that you can find yourself in a brainstorm, and before you realize what's happening, you're all caught up in what it's saying, kind of like what the voice in your head is saying. And I want to make space for everybody to have their own individual experience. So again, forgive my generalization of this and what I'm about to say. I encourage you to find pieces that work for you and kind of like create your own template. Basically what I'm saying is have your own experience, and if hearing this one helps you recognize or explore your own, great. So within your head, and here we have a zoom on that other document. Within your head, you likely hear a voice. Hi, nice to see you. Thanks for coming by. You likely hear a voice that you think is yours. And while it is likely yours, your voice is still a combination of all the things you've gathered in this life. And it's not just the words that you've learned, but also the patterns of speaking about things, the patterns of focusing on things, the patterns of interpreting it. So your headspace, while it is incredibly personal, is also not really you or yours at all. I like to remind myself and my people, so here we have the headspace. This is where the chatter is going on, but you aren't the voice. It sounds like you. You are what is listening to the voice. So it's almost like you invite in these guest speakers who narrate about reality, about your experience, and they say, well, this person's doing this because you're doing this because this will go there. And it is all shared with you so authoritatively and instantaneously that you don't think like, is that real? You know, it's the narrator that you know. And so if you're just joining today, I'm talking about how to stop overthinking. And I just presented this model of the headspace and was talking about how you'll hear a voice in your head that sounds like you, and it's not. And when that voice starts to gather let's say like momentum, because there's an underlying emotion, likely fear, maybe sadness, maybe pain, the voice kind of like picks up in intensity, and sometimes you don't even really notice that it's gaining momentum. And I think of it kind of like a stampede where you walk outside and everyone's kind of like plodding along, and they start to move faster and faster, and then before you know it, you guys are all running. And that is what can happen in the headspace. Some people call it spiraling, and it can get real hold of you, and it can get a hold of you in the middle of the night. It can get hold of you prior to an event. Let's say you think you have a decision you need to make. In all of that activity, it's very unlikely that you're actually seeing what you're trying to decide about very clearly, because how could you? It's fear. So what we're looking at today is how to bring yourself back to base. Once you bring yourself back to base, does that mean you should go explore that topic? I wouldn't do it right then. I let yourself come back to your center, live at kind of that base for a little while, and then sit down with paper and like think and write at the same time. Do it. If there's something that you need to solve or think through, do it outside of your head so you can see it and shuffle it around. You can set a timer for 20 minutes because you might not know what to write for the first 5. Just like chill out and allow yourself to kind of like brain dump. And maybe you even do it in segments. Maybe you brain dump one segment, and then 2 days later, after you know you're already like calmly based, you revisit what you wrote and kind of address it as if it wasn't you or yours. So we're talking about overthinking today. And so imagine that you have kind of like a brainstorm. I've got several, oh, hey girl. I got several things happening in this image. First, you'll see that his nostrils are flared. That's because he's breathing really deeply. So if you find yourself in a brainstorm, if you're overthinking like a mofo, the first thing I'd say is like, let's get the nostrils moving, let's breathe. And so there's some lungs down there, which I can see from this illustration. I could have did a better job with. Like now I'm seeing reflect back, but those are lungs. And they're the same color as the nostrils. And really what you're doing is drawing the air the whole way down. So this line down here is the bottom of your lungs. When you're breathing, I want you to take it the whole way down to the bottom of your lungs. Make this the full focus of your activity. In addition to that, so what we're talking about is how to stop overthinking. In addition to that, I've got these blue arrows at the top. That's divine rainwater, baby. Let yourself wash clean. So you just kind of ask for that and imagine it. I know it should be more complicated than that, but that's really all it takes. So invite divine assistance, divine refreshment, invite Reiki, whatever your energy flavor of choice is, invite that to come down through your crown chakra. So if you're just joining, I'm talking about how to stop overthinking. And I started by saying when you notice you're in a brainstorm, actually, if we recap a little bit further back. Oh, good job. Yeah, it's Libra. Nice work. I said, appreciate that you even acknowledge and that you caught that you're in one. Like, let you know that you're there. Like, let you appreciate that you notice that you're there. In some ways, that helps you say, like, see, I got you. You're safe. Because what we're doing is taking you out of a fear state and bringing you into the present, into your body. And then from there, you start to breathe. So we've got the flared nostrils, and it's really just being there for the breath and taking it the whole way down into your body. And then I suggested asking for a divine energy shower to help cleanse and clear the thought forms you don't need. I'm not going to go into thought forms right now because 1, I don't have the vocabulary for it, and 2, I only have about 4 minutes left. But the idea is, thoughts are things. This whole experience, I say this all the time, it looks real solid. It's not. It's empty space. It's energy. Thinking is energy. That shit can hang around in your field. Same with emotions. So we want to invite divine assistance, and you can use whatever visual you want. I like to think of a lemonade pitcher coming down through the top with sparkly blue water, or whatever color I'm inspired to choose at that moment. And then I have a candle between the lungs that's lit at the heart. So you might also choose to focus on feeling the light of your heart. And again, so you have the problem that you're thinking about, you notice that you're thinking about it, and you say let's come back to this, because the way I'm doing it right now isn't really working. And then you start to breathe. And then you turn on the divine rain water shower and bring that down. And then you look for the candle in your chest that cannot be put out. You start to feel the light glow or grow. I love gold for that, but you can pick any color that you want. And then we've got the sun down here at your solar plexus. And so we want to start heating up this power center, the center of connection. And then the last piece down there is the grass. So you want to draw your energy the whole way down to your feet, and imagine that all the energy that's circulating here that you don't need is now descending through your body, out through the soles of your feet into the ground. And you might actually want to go outside to do that. And I know I'm rushing through the end of this because I got somewhere I got to be. But the idea is to start to occupy your mind in an intentional way to calm and soothe your experience. And these tactics help you take control of your nervous system and also, again, invite in divine assistance. If you don't have a practice of working with angels or your spirit, you can hire me and I'll help you develop that, because there's so much you think you have to do that you can delegate, and it really takes a practice of belief. You can create some feedback loops where you ask, receive, and then that starts to reinforce, like, this is the thing. Most of the work I used to do internally required me to, it's like I was driving on the road of life, and then I get a wave of oh, I could do this better, this isn't right. I'd pull off, put her in park, and I'd sit there for I don't know, long time, maybe months sometimes, and be all right, what is it? What am I supposed to do? Show me the insides, which is great because it helped me develop this awareness that I can speak to. But at this point, I'm good with it, and really what I do now is when I get the wave, rather than stop the whole vehicle, I delegate it. I'm okay, look, I notice I'm doing this, feeling this. I would prefer to do this, feel this, enrich my experience. And then I come back to driving. I come back to the present moment. I come back to being in my body where I am. Again, that's really what this practice is. So, now let's breathe for a second, just be where we are. Does anybody have any questions in the next minute or two for me? So we are looking at how to stop overthinking, and we're stopping it again. I said I had content that you can review that will help you come to see over time the unreality of thinking, which was what it took for me to put it down, really being able to see when I think I'm thinking, I think I'm doing this, but oh, alas, I'm doing the opposite of it. That, so if you want to stop overthinking overall, sometimes it is helpful to have that information, or you can just train yourself to not, and that would be this practice, where really what you're doing here is being present. You're coming to be present to your physical experience and also your divine one. Thank you, everyone, for coming out midday. A real pleasure to host. I'm going to jump off for a client. If you would like to work with me one-on-one or talk about working with me one-on-one, you can click the link on my bio, or if you're watching on YouTube, go to habitbook.com and schedule a free info call or book a session directly. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful day.